What is up, everybody? I'm back in my car again for the second vlog of the day. Lucky you. Get to sit there and watch my dumb ass talk. Anyway, so today we're going to take a step back and do a little something different. Still going to discuss the Rangers a little bit. But what I'm going to be discussing today is my three favorite sports teams. The New York Giants, the New York Mets, and the New York Rangers. To start off, what I want to... who should I talk about first? I'll talk about the Giants first. We're going to talk about the Rangers last, because I touch on them so often. So the New York Giants, right? I mean, another disappointing start to the season. 1-3 to start, after losing to the Saints. Odell Beckham Jr. still without a touchdown catch. Barkley, I think, still only has the one rushing touchdown, and Shepard finally caught one yesterday. But this is what I want to propose, and this goes for the Mets too. I think the reason why the Giants and the Mets are so bad, well, not even so bad, so disappointing year after year, is because the front office sets us up with these unrealistic expectations, like we're going to make the playoffs. And I could be saying stuff that people already know, but there are some people that really think out there, and I was one of them to start the season for both the Mets and the Giants, that thought we'd be a pretty solid ass team, because we ignore the flaws and we just focus on the few bright spots that we have. The Giants, the bright spots being Odell Beckham Jr., Saquon Barkley, and kind of ignoring everything else and expecting it to go as planned. And there are flaws in that, because with the New York Giants, the defense is just, it's not good. Got its okay defensive line with Snacks, I got great D-backs too with Janoris Jenkins. Eli Apple's alright, but he's been hurt, and Landon Collins. But I feel like the ends without Olivier Vernon, the ends are kind of rough. The linebackers aren't great; they're not terrible either. Alec Ogletree, I think, was a pretty awesome acquisition, by the way. I think he's been perfect for us. But the offensive line is what kills it, because without an offensive line, you're not winning shit, because then you're not giving your quarterback any room or any space to do anything. You're certainly not giving him any room for error, because any error the quarterback makes is you're done, because the offensive line can't hold shit. Although I will say, since Eric Flowers has been out, the offensive line has been better, but it's still not where it should be. Still not even close. Still not enough to get us into a playoff spot. And another big problem with the New York Giants is we had that 11-2 run when Ben McAdoo first took over, and that's where the false hope came from, right? McAdoo comes in, we go. I said 11-2. I can't believe it. We went 11-5, and we won our division. We get bounced in the first round. That right there is what started the false hope. Made us think that we had a good enough team, even with the shitty offensive line, to make the playoffs. And then next year we come back, we eat ass. This year again, eat ass. And here's the problem. And I'm gonna go over with the Mets too. The Giants never committed to a rebuild. Last year they just sucked ass, but they were still trying to win. They just naturally sucked. They weren't trying to suck; they just did. New York Mets, World Series run. That's not false hope. That's hope. You release Daniel Murphy, you're kind of screwing yourself a little bit. You shoot yourself a bit there. The next season, not a good year. Not a good year at all. We were fine in the outfield. We picked up an outfielder when we needed relief pitching. What does that get us? Nothing. Jay Bruce had a pretty bad start to his Mets career. He followed up beautifully the next season. And then this season was kind of rough. But get bounced in the wild card round against the San Francisco Giants. There's your false hope. The hope that you can make the playoffs, but you still lose in the first round. You don't commit to anything. You just lose in the first round. Season after that, which was the last season, not the one that just ended yesterday, but the season before it. Terrible season. We don't even make the playoffs. Just a very crummy year. Don't make the playoffs. Pretty solid pick, though. I like who we picked last year. This year the pick was the outfielder, Kelenic. But last year we drafted the pitcher, David Peterson, whatever his name was. But we didn't miss the playoffs on purpose, like we were trying to win. There's your false hope. And then again, the false hope. And you can carry that false hope over this year. You sign guys like Todd Frazier. You bring back Jay Bruce, which I wasn't against. Bring back Matt Harvey. I was against. And you do all these things, and you bring back Reyes, and again, you're forcing yourself to win when you should be trying to rebuild. That's where we were at for the New York Mets. We should have accepted where we were at and just rebuild it instead of giving the fans and yourself false hope and losing. That's where disappointment settles in. When you get a disappointed New York fan base, you get fucked. Because when the New York fan base is disappointed, the GMs the next year are like, well, shit, we got to figure this out and start winning next year before we lose fans and revenue. So then they try to win. So I'm curious to see what the Mets are going to do next year. I wouldn't mind the Mets putting out a New York Rangers-esque letter and just succumbing to the rebuild. Now, here's what I'm going to say. This is kudos to the Rangers and Gordon. Rangers did it right. The Rangers took what should have been a 5-year rebuild and turned it into a 1.5 years. We traded Stepan the Anderson trade. We drafted Philip Hedl. We drafted excellent. We traded perfectly. And now the Rangers are seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, whereas the Mets and the Giants are just stepping foot inside that tunnel. The Mets, outside of 2 or 3 prospects, have nobody. The Giants, out of Barkley, Shepard, and Beckham, have no young studs. So it kind of makes you wonder, well, what's next? Do the Giants trade their players and get picks? Do the Mets do the same? I think they should. What I want to hit on is you might as well, if there's going to be a dark ages in New York sports, you might as well get all the teams out of the way all the teams out of the way at the same exact time. You might as well get the Giants, Mets, and Rangers, and the Islanders, and the Jets. Not the Yankees. The Yankees are doing good. I'm a Mets fan. I don't hate them. I just don't like them. But you might as well get those 5 out of the way while you can, because my hand's still broken. That's why I'm driving with one hand. So bear with me here. So I guess it's just up to management now. They gotta realize, look, we had a good run. We went to the World Series in the Mets case, and the Giants case, we didn't really do anything good. We gave ourselves false hope. And they gotta fucking do something, man. They just gotta give it up. They gotta throw in the towel, get the draft picks, get the kids, and move on. The freaking Mets this year were in a perfect place to finish bottom 5, and I think they finished bottom 15 because they finished like 77 and 85. So they actually finished with a pretty solid record despite them eating ass the entire season, which is frustrating as all hell. Because now the draft pick is just that much worse. To piggyback off of that, the Mets might not have a gem-heavy system, but they have a deep system. They got enough guys. And baseball free agency this year is going to be pretty solid. I wouldn't mind the Mets going after a qualified player and losing the first-round pick, because our first-round pick is not going to be that good, thanks to the Mets deciding, hey, at the end of the season, we're going to turn it up and play spoiler for ourselves. And signing a good young free agent. And I don't know, there should be, Benintendi should be a free agent, right? Harper, Machado, there'll be plenty of good free agents this year. I wouldn't mind them spending big and losing that first round pick on one of those free agents. I really wouldn't mind it this year, as long as they are sub 28 years old. Because I think the Mets are closer to a spot of competition than the Giants are. Not that I want the Mets to commit. I would rather them rebuild and go for the youth movement and trade their top assets. Because there's no need to compete. We're not in a place to compete. You got the Grom and Syndergaard. You got your 1-2. Wheeler and Matz aren't terrible. But you're still waiting on the other young guys that come up. You got plenty of young relievers in the system now. Young starters coming up. I wouldn't mind if the Mets made a push for one really good free agent on a long-term deal. Shit the bed next year with that one good free agent and your young guys. Trade the fat, and then the year after next year you come back strong with a deeper system too. I wouldn't mind that at all. I could deal with another year of the Mets sucking ass if it means that we're gonna have 5 years and 5 to 10 years of good Mets. Because it's kind of getting hard to watch baseball and pay for the baseball every single year to watch. Again, off of that false hope. You think we're gonna be good and then we suck. Start the year great, more false hope, and we just eat ass. As for the Giants, football is a weird sport, man. Football is a very weird sport. Football, you can have an absolute stud of a player, but he's only in the league 5 years. So for the Giants, I don't know what you do. Do you trade Beckham, Shepard, Manning, Ogletree, Vernon, Apple? Like, you just get rid of all these guys and cross your fingers you're going to get enough good young guys and picks? I really don't know. That's a question I'll leave to the football fans, because I really don't know how you would treat a football rebuild. Because football rebuilds last a lot longer than any other sport, because players' careers are just so much shorter because they get hurt earlier and whatnot. So I don't know what you do as the Giants. I guess the Giants, you just gotta hope you draft well, or sign the right players in free agency. You gotta figure something out, man. There's gotta be a way. We're missing out on that kid. What's his name? Who's on the Cardinals, I think. Went to free agency and then signed elsewhere. Oh my God, Matthew. Something Matthew. The safety. Man, he would have been good. He would have been really good. His nickname's not Jackrabbit. I forgot what his nickname is. But having him with Landon Collins and Janoris Jenkins on the back end, chilling. We'd be chilling. But this piggybacks to the Rangers. Again, the Rangers did it in such a short period of time. The Rangers, within a year and a half, and that we're going to start this with the Stepan trade and go to today. The Rangers went from having their best prospect. Who was the best project 2 years? Best prospect before Elias Anderson came in? I'm trying to think. Our best prospect was, obviously Shesterkin, but I couldn't even tell you. Was Jesper? No, because he was in the NHL. The best prospect was probably, I don't know. It wasn't Buchnevich because he was already in the NHL. That was his rookie year. Oh my God, man! I'm just trying to think. You know what's bad when you can't even think of your top prospects because they were just that bad. Way back when, it might have been Cristobal Nieves, but even so, that's bad. That's really bad. Our prospect pool is weak, and now, the prospect pool is one of the deepest in the NHL. I think the 6th highest rated by TSN. I think it could have been a little bit higher. Well, no, they might have been ranked 8th or 9th, but I think it should have been top 5. So you got a really deep prospect pool. You went from having no top prospects, having, let's see, Anderson, DeAngelo. I still count DeAngelo as a prospect because he's not a full-time NHLer. Anderson, DeAngelo, Keitel, Howden, and Kravtsov, Nils Lundqvist, and Keandre Miller. 7 first-round pick prospects. You went from 0 to 7 in a year and a half. Not to mention, you still have Igor Shesterkin, the tied first best goaltending prospect in the world. You still have Libor Hayek. You still have Ty Ronning, 60-goal WHL scorer. You still have Tim Gettinger, 6'6", 30-goal scorer. You still have Ryan Gropp, multiple-time 30-goal scorer in the WHL, former second-round pick. You still got Halverson, second-round pick goalie. You still got Adam Huska. You still got Alex Georgiev, undrafted college goalie free agent, expected to be a starter in the NHL one day. The list goes on, man. We got a deep system. And that was done in a year and a half. It makes you wonder, what could the Giants and Mets do in a year and a half if they got their shit together? Baseball. I'm sorry. Baseball, you can turn a prospect pool around in half a year. The things that teams give up for like minimal players, like depth players, is amazing. You'll get a team's like number 5 prospect for like a reliever. It's incredible. Like when the Mets traded for Jay Bruce, they traded Dilson Herrera, who was our best prospect hands down at the time. And that was for an outfielder that was having a pretty good year, but it's thought to be a lot at the time. So, a lot can change in a year in baseball. If it can happen in hockey, it can happen in baseball. Just football. The football question I'm going to leave to you guys. The football, why don't you guys fill me in? How long does it take for a successful rebuild of football to launch? How long does it take, and what do you need to do? The Giants, if I'm the Giants right now, I'm looking at an offensive line. I'm looking hard at an offensive line. Because that's what we are. Crack-a-lackin', baby. We do not have an offensive... Oh, someone's car stinks. The Giants do not have an offensive line, man. I feel like if we had an offensive line, we would be middle of the pack / contender. But because we don't have an offensive line, I really don't know where the Giants sit. They're not a playoff team. But I don't know if they're bottom of the barrel or just not a playoff team. I really don't know. I think if we're going by NHL 19 ratings, they're a hopeful, not a contender. Meaning that they hope to make the playoffs, but they're really not. They're not a rebuilder either. The Giants have the pieces to put together a push, but besides that, I really don't know where they sit, man. I'll be curious to see. I mean, look what the Yankees did, man. The Yankees were in that loop that the Giants were in, where they never really ate ass. And now they got prospects. They got Gleyber Torres. They got the other kid, Gary Sanchez, Aaron Judge. They go ahead and they pick up Giancarlo Stanton. They got an awesome pitching staff. It's going to turn around like that. I mean, you know, things can be done fast. Especially in baseball. Because baseball, you'll notice, look at the history of first overall picks in baseball. There's a good amount, and I think 2 or 3 of them are Houston Astros that didn't even play. So baseball is an interesting sport like that. You never know what you get in baseball unless you draft like a Bryce Harper. Then you know what you've got. You know right away what you got. But as for the other guys, you really don't know. You kind of just get lucky. Jacob deGrom was not drafted, and he's almost a shoo-in for the Cy Young Award this year. So it's an interesting sport. Football, again, from what I've gathered from football, my kind of low standard knowledge of football. I mean, every player you draft, minus a backup quarterback, you kind of expect to be NFL level out of the draft. Because guys get hurt, they're in and out so often. You kind of expect everyone to be able to take that step and play in the NFL. Especially first round picks. I think Barkley's done a good job as the starting running back for the Giants. It's just using the goddamn offensive line to protect him. And that's what really sucks for Saquon Barkley. Because it's not his fault. See, check this out. Because I got a broken hand and I can't open my water bottle. I gotta use my teeth. That actually tastes really good. I gotta use my teeth to open up my Quick Trip bottle of lemon water. I'm gonna go ahead and get in the right lane while I'm doing this to avoid pole accidents. And you're gonna see some shit right here. Try to loosen it up a little bit. Okay. I'm gonna use my cast to hold the wheel. Spill a little bit more. Okay. This ain't working. I will have to find a new strategy. That's unfortunate. This sucks. I can't tell you. If you're gonna break something, make it your leg. I'd rather be in crutches than have a broken ass hand. This, like, broken hand sucks. Like, doing shit with one hand, not easy. Not easy. I can't get this fucking cap off. I really want this lemon water. It's really good. I drank an entire thing of Bai. I opened it with my teeth on the way to work. But I can't get this lemon cap off because it keeps spilling out because they fill this shit to the top, man. They do not short you. Like, you know when you get a Pringles, right? You get like chips or something like that. They always seem to, god damn you, lemon water. They seem to short you a little bit. They give you like the Lay's air is what I call it. This lemon water, they fill to the brim. Like, look at this. Filled to the top. All the way to the top. So we're not even getting at the top off this bitch. Yeah, that's about it. I'm on my way home now. Hope by the time I get there, I'm going to go on Twitter and see some good hockey news. There's already like 3 trades today in the NHL. I'm hoping the Rangers are going to make a trade soon too. Because we're going to have a pretty serious conundrum in terms of guys we're not going to want to put on waivers. When guys like Bolesky come back, yeah, maybe Bolesky, I don't think he has trade value because he got hurt. But I'm sure there's other guys that got trade value you might be able to get a little something out of. You know, just keep stocking up on assets. Simple as that. Picking up Adam McQuaid, I still think was an okay move, but I'm curious to see what he gets moved for. Smith installs it. This could be an exciting season for the Rangers. See, like how last year we went from a shitty ass team to now we're hopeful. You know, like we got all these young kids. We got a good young team in front of us, and it's just fun to watch. Whereas the Giants, they don't really have, outside of Barkley and Beckham, respectively, and I guess Shepard too, they don't really have young, exciting players. I mean, Evan Engram, but he's freaking hurt. He's always hurt, man. They don't got the young, exciting players like the Rangers do. I got it off. Ah! I think I got it. Yay! I got it off. I can drink my lemon water now. That dude just let out some serious vapage outside of the back of his car. Okay. You guys are gonna see what it's like trying to drink. Jesus Christ, they filled this thing with the freaking top. If I hit a bump and this shit splashes on me, I'm gonna be pissed. Okay. Here we go. Shouldn't have done that. We'll make it work. We'll make it work. We made it work. Pro driver. Okay. Now that I'm properly hydrated, that is really good lemon water. I recommend Nestle Splash. That shit is good. I was optimistic when buying it, because I usually just get regular water. That is some good, quick trip lemon splash Nestle. Oh yeah, Tescaden. I forgot I was talking about sports. You guys comment down below. Let me know about football, because I don't know shit about it. Well, I know about football. I just don't know enough about it to give you a proper assessment. I don't follow it like I do hockey and baseball. So educate me, guys. Comment down below what you think the Giants could do. Let me know. And yeah, with that, I will see you guys next time. 1 second. Hands on the wheel. Peace.